Hello and welcome back to the worst Warmachine channel on the internet. I'm Malorian and it's time for another Warmachine battle report. Now, you might have noticed that as the initial stuff was rolling through here that I didn't put in the list, and that's because in this battle report, I don't want you to really care about the battle. So technically, it's going to be Agathon versus Sturgis, and it'd be really cool if I had a really cool battle for you. However, I don't. It's actually going to be a pretty fast game, but the main thing I actually want to make this battle report for then is that this is my first time doing Clashmachine in person. So online I've done or tried to replicate a Clashmachine game on War Table and it went okay enough. And then for this one here, I was up against my buddy David. He's one of the patrons and he's like, hey man, I want to try some Brawl Machine or some 50 points. Infernals don't work at Brawl Machine, and at 50 points I was like, hey, do you want to try out Clashmachine? He's like, yeah, sure, why not? So I really want to focus on really what this format is and how it kind of works. So with that, let's kind of look at what the first deployment here is. So as you can see here, it looks wonky and crazy. So just to kind of get some initial things down, Clashmachine is a nether format made by Line of Sight. You know, they had made the Brawl Machine for 25 points. It's fantastic. Everybody loves it. And then this is their kind of middle child to try and get you between 25 points and 75 points, which is a 50-point Clashmachine format. Now, whereas in Brawl Machine, you need, there's only 5 rounds. Instead of needing 5 control points, you need to have 4 in front of your other opponent. Everything's basically FA1. There's an epic list. Clashmachine is significantly different. For starters, well, actually, one thing that is the same is that it is still 5 rounds. So it's still pretty fast paced. You know, you get on to turn 3 and you realize, damn, that we're already halfway through the game. The other thing is that you now need 5 control points, which is making it a little bit higher. But as you can see on here, it's a little bit more active. It's a little bit more crazy. Now, as far as actually building your list, there's no epic list to be worrying about, but instead of things being FA1, it's now FA2. And basically, you're allowed to have one huge base in your list, is basically how it kind of works. You have your option of one Colossal or one Battle Engine or one Structure. Okay, it's basically one huge base you're allowed to take. Now, the other thing that they kind of played with here is how the scenarios work. So, whereas normally we're used to having our big circles, our big rectangles, and our flags and objectives, they've really now said, first of all, there's going to be different sizes of these actual circles and rectangles and stuff. And in particular here, you can see the circle. So, flags no longer exist, and instead you have these 6-inch circles. They're like flags, in which you have to score them with a solo or your caster, but basically you score them if your solo's in the zone, and they're contested if an enemy thing's in there. I like this one quite a bit. It kind of really simplifies the way that the flag system works, doesn't really lock you down. And as far as locking you down, units are also very simplified, where only one of the models needs to actually be in the zone you're trying to score, and all the rest can be wherever you need. So they can be running around, whoever you want, and that's great, because whereas you think that big circle is enough for a unit, when you've got 10 models that want to be charging things and doing things, forcing you to stay in that circle to actually score it can actually be a huge hindrance. The other thing too is that one model/unit can only ever score one thing at a time. So, if we're playing something with 4 circles or something crazy, the large circles, it's not like my unit can spread around to them all. They can only score one of them while contesting all the others. So now that I've explained everything there, let's kind of quickly get into what's happening here in the game. So I made a nice quick 50 50-point Infernal list, and I might as well add in here too that I thought Infernals would be busted at 50, but in talking to Jaden from Line of Sight, they actually really struggle because, as you can kind of tell, the scenarios are very live, and if you're killing off all your solos to turn into heavies, well then you don't have the solos to score to try and like keep up, and if you run up solos to try and score, they probably die, which means you can't turn them into heavies, and so Infernals are actually having a bit of a hard time. So that's what I went with Agathon as opposed to like, Omodemos. On the other side, I'm up against David. He has a Storm Division list that is being led by Sturgis. So Sturgis now crazy powerful. I don't want to get too much into it right now, but yeah, that boy can really kill some stuff. So I'm going to have to be very careful here. Even just like the Knights, the Storm Lances, they might get Arcane Shield, run into my face, and cause lots of problems. But luckily, I got first, but we'll be talking about it in a second. So really, again, I'm going to do this over quickly for the actual game part. I basically run up, I turn one of my solos into a Desolator, the usual type things you might do, stay out of the range, and then just be ready to actually do stuff. So that's really it, cast Tether, all those fancy things, made him Lamenter, blah blah blah, infernal things. Now on his turn, he's really having a lot of stuff on the right flank. You can see that's where a lot of his forces are, whereas on the left, it's really just being held down by that one Firefly, and then he has his main pieces in the center. Now, when I was going into my second turn here, typically it's fairly simple, right? Like, okay, let's set up and blah, 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 contest, be in a good smart spot. But when you look at this, you're like, damn, like there's a lot of things I need to do. So I can have a solo in my own little small circle in my home zone, but I have to hold things back if they want to be in like the back rectangle zones. So like putting a Lamenter back there or a Forebodar, not so bad, that's okay. But what about those side circles? If I don't go and actually make sure I hold them down, well, then he's just going to smash them. Like, especially the one on the right, what am I going to put there that he's not just going to destroy? On the left side, I'm a little bit more safer there, kind of. Like, Sturgis could just, like, teleport over there if he wanted to very easily, so he could score that at any time and kill whatever's there, but that's also could be a problem. And, of course, he could score his own things. Like, I don't really feel I could actually contest his zone. Like, whenever I fly over, he just kill. Same thing with his zone. And so now I'm realizing, like, I could like maybe even put things in my zone and like Sturgis could like feet pull them to take them out. So I'm no longer scoring my own zones, and like potentially he could just win here getting 5 points over me, or probably even more likely just get like 4 points over me or something like that and being set up. So like, how do I even come back? So I just felt completely overwhelmed. I'm like, what do I do? I'm basically going and like feeding your army. I was actually wishing I had gone second. So on my second turn, I kind of do my best, and so this is what I do here. I go and I run up the Howlers in the center while having one of them in the right zone. I also set up so that I have one of the Tormentors there, so that if he goes in too hard, I can basically like countercharge in, and there's no way he's going to kill both those things, right? Otherwise, assuming that he does come in, the Desolator's ready to go in there, so I'm set up to contest the right zone, contest the center zone. On the bottom right, I have, like, of course, the Desolator standing in there and a Forebodar. I have a solo in my back zone. On the left, I currently have the Soul Stalker, but like I said, you can just pull them out, but I don't want to like waste too much standing in there, and I'm just giving up on the left side. Like right now, he doesn't a lot there. It'd be very aggressive for him to try and put in the actual Sturgis, so I don't think he's going to do that, but again, if he has a big 5-point play, he might just kind of go for that. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried here, but we'll see what he does. So what he does do is kind of like slams into me. One of the things he does is actually comes up here with the Firefly to kind of zap and kill some of my support. So doing good old lightning things. Same thing here on the right. Crushes the Howlers in the center as well. And really just kind of like sets up some little scoring here. I actually really thought he'd be scoring the right zone as well, but maybe he just didn't really feel like it was necessary yet. So I'm feeling very lucky he didn't go high on the scoring. So even though he killed some models of mine, I mean, now I got 3 points and he got 3 points, and I feel like it come back and keep going here, although I'm kind of really scared about Sturgis trying to get to Agathon, so I think I'm just going to kill him. So what I do then is I just do the normal Agathon things. I do Puppet Master, I do the whole Hermit thing, I run up a Forebodar, pop feet, and pew 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 and kill Sturgis. And so, yeah, that's what I did, and so I won the game, and that's what I mean, like, game-wise, this is nothing. But let's just go back to that initial deployment, and I'm going to talk about the second game we did. Alright, I didn't actually take a picture of the second game, but in that game, I basically said, alright, let's just switch this up. I'll do my 50-point Omodemos list I made, and we'll just play again. And in this one, he went first, and it was funny because when we talked about after, he had exactly the same thought that I did, where, you know, he got first, he's like, yeah, man, that feels awesome, ran up the board, I go up the board, and then he was in the same feeling. It was like, damn, what do I do? There are so many things that can be scored, and having the first opportunity to score is massive. So basically, he came crashing into me, you know, did some damage to Howlers. I scored a ton of control points, not enough to win, but like I said, just like that significant advantage. He fought back, killed 50 points of my army. He killed 2 Tormentors, a Soul Stalker, and a Desolator. And so 50 points in a 50-point army, very significant. But in doing that, couldn't actually go and get ahead on scenario. And so it was actually pretty easy with what I had left to just run up, contest his things, score my side, get 5 points ahead, and win the game. So one of the things that I could be saying as a negative for Clashmachine is that both of us had the same word for this sort of style of scenario with so many scoring elements, which was overwhelming. Both of us felt overwhelmed going into that turn 2, where when we're going first and not being able to score, you felt like you had to throw things away in desperation just so that they would not be scoring them. Now, to counter that, I believe that the way that you'd be dealing with this is taking more infantry. Again, it seems like this format's designed to help out infantry, let them spread around, let them contest, and so therefore, if you don't want to be overwhelmed, take more things that can contest. You know, for myself, if I had 2 units of Howlers, I would be feeling much better. It'd be very easy to have 1 Howlers on the left, 1 Howlers on the right, go up there, contest the world for me. I would have been feeling way safer. Same thing on his side. You know, maybe if he had 2 units of the Lances, right? The Storm Lances, then he might be feeling better about that as well. But it's just, you know, it's just the way it kind of feels. It's just so live and so go, go, go. I almost kind of wish that maybe it'd be called like Troop Machine, and maybe if that's the intent, that it's really pushed, but I don't even feel that that is the true intent and that they are trying to get some balance. So overall, you know, for Clashmachine, the thing I have to say is that this is still just like in testing, right? This isn't Brawl Machine where it's finalized and roll out. Like, this is in like early alpha stages testing. It's not officially rolled out yet, so I'm sure there's lots of things are going to be changing. This scenario that you see is not even in the testing package, I don't believe. This is like one that Jaden was playing with and like posted on the Discord, so I don't think like it's even in the package yet. But, you know, I think this is a real thing where if we want this to be something that's played with and done, you know, maybe try some of these out. You know, talk to Jaden, get the package, try it out, let them know, and then when this one comes out, it'll be as good as possible, and who knows, we might have another, you know, great Brawl Machine format that we can all be playing. So there you go. Like I said, this battle report's not really a battle report. It's more of a, you know, Clashmachine in action, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know whatever thoughts you have down below, and otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.